Yeah, I do think so. I feel that we're teaching kids a lot of skills that teach them how to learn so that they'll be able to prepare themselves for the future. Are they necessarily job ready? Some are, some aren't, depending on the courses. You know, not everyone takes the same courses. Some kids take harder stuff.
A student could be ready for 21st century, job readiness, but the student themselves has to be invested in getting themselves there. Like, the resources are there, the possibility is there, it's whether they reach for it.
I think some teenagers are. Not everybody is prepared for life when they leave high school, but hopefully whatever they choose to do, whether it's college or career or whatever they choose to do, they've learned enough that they can at least function.
It depends on what they want to do after high school. I think there's a lot of push for college readiness, but college isn't necessarily for everybody. I think more vocational education would be helpful.
I would keep it the same.
That's a good question. I would definitely change a lot of things. I would definitely have less standardized tests.
Yes, I would change it. I think that there's a lot of things that can probably be improved upon. It's really hard to name one thing that I would change. I think there's a lot of, just talking about it from a governmental standpoint, there's a lot of people who are making decisions about education who don't really know what's happening in a school. So a lot of politicians that make all these laws and they don't really maybe think it through on how it's going to directly impact schools. So that's one thing that I think needs revision.
The ability to think, which is very different from just memorizing information, but the ability to actually think, to think critically, to evaluate the validity of alleged information, especially with the internet. There's a lot that's out there that's not necessarily good information.
There are some skills that students nowadays don't have that I was actually a little bit surprised about. We did an activity a few weeks ago where we had students fill out envelopes, and students didn't know how to address an envelope. And there are things like money skills, personal finance skills that I think more students need to know to survive in the real world, because whether they go to college or not, you're going to need to know how to pay rent, you're going to need to know how to apply for jobs and do all of the things that are part of an adult life.
Transcript of a graduation speech that somebody gave, and I can't think of it right now, but the whole moral of the graduation speech is you are not special. And a lot of kids go through high school with a sense of entitlement or a misconception about how the adult world is going to treat them. And some people get there and they realize, I don't have the skills to do this, or wow, this is a lot more difficult than high school.
Learn all kinds of base information that will carry them as they go on to college, if that's their choice. Or if they're going to, prepare for a career and they're going to choose to forego college, they need to be given skills to be able to be a good employee and knowledgeable, I feel, at least to some degree, about the basic world.
Again, I think that we're talking about human dynamics here, and so competitive in terms of there's one winner, one loser. Maybe some people feel that way. Competitive in terms of wanting to be your best, competing with yourself. I'm not sure every kid is necessarily coming in with that goal in mind.
No, for sure. I mean, extracurriculars for sure. And you have a lot of AP, pre-AP, CCP classes that are going to create a competitive atmosphere. I mean, I think that's the way, not just high school, of life. I mean, life's competitive. That's just the way it is.
It's a lot more competitive, I think, than when I was in school. The standards are so much more strict now than even 20 years ago. The level of stress and the level of performance expected from students is a lot different than what I was used to. I see students carry a lot of stress, staying up all night doing homework, and I don't feel that that's healthy at times. I know that rigor and demand is expected from high school students, but I want to make sure we just don't push anybody too hard.
yes. I think yes. I think theoretically the students do all have the same opportunities. In actuality, I don't know that that's occurring.
Only certain students who are self-motivated benefit from it, whereas there are a lot of students who aren't very motivated, so it's not really that competitive for them.
I'd say, yeah. I mean, students are all given equal opportunity. Maybe all students are not given the benefit of the doubt, I guess, in some cases. But I mean, every student starts off with a clean record, a clean. You can take what classes you want. Everybody starts off the same GPA. Everyone starts off the same ability. Now, I'd say that stuff at home is going to make for a difference. I mean, there's going to be parents that support you more, support academics more, that have made people probably going to be more successful in the academia world. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, people are given the same opportunities here at school.
That we don't have enough empathy. I think that students need to learn to kind of put themselves in other people's shoes, to kind of to understand how other people feel. I mean, young people especially grow up, in one particular household and kind of take those values and those morals and all those things and, be good or bad and kind of apply them for the rest of their lives. And if we don't offer them alternative viewpoints or to learn about different cultures or the way that other people live, they're going to live with that sameness. So I think it's really important to expose students to as many different things as possible in this world to kind of give them an idea of how the world really works, not just how things work in one little tiny bubble in which they grew up in.
Life skills. That's talking from we've implemented the food classes that we have, and we do have the one wood shop class, but those are the courses that I think, especially the foods class, where that's where I learned to do laundry, that's where I learned to cook my first meals. I mean, when back in the 80s, the old days, when that's what you learned.
I think the balance part is the thing that stands out the most to me about when people are a good example for their peers. It's not like the only thing they did was worry about their AP grade. And it wasn't the only thing they did was be in band or be a cheerleader or be on the soccer team. A well-rounded person who can balance all of those things and maintain positive friendships and relationship with their family, I think is a true standout.
Number one thing that students need to get from high school is accountability. So I think students need to learn if they don't show up on time, if they don't do what is expected of them, if they're not performing in class, that it's their own fault.
Well, I think, when you're working together in collaborative groups in class, that's a great skill to have beyond the classroom.
Curiosity is a big one for me. I don't believe that learning should stop after you graduate from high school. You should be learning all the time, because in my mind, that's how you become a better person.
Is how to overcome a challenge. That's really important, so that you are challenged and struggle and then learn how to overcome it. And I think that we teach that just in the classroom. You do something that's difficult, you think, oh my gosh, I can't do this, and then you do it. And that's kind of like they say it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think you can do it, then you will. If you think you can't do it, you won't.
Skills through the current curriculum.
My top three are discipline, teamwork, and being able to take risks. I think in any classroom, any environment, any work environment that you do, you're gonna have to have those three things.
Good. I'm very aware that we definitely have kids that maybe come into school as the best part of their day. That for them, no one yells at them, it is warm, they are fed. I'm very aware of that for some of our students that is their reality. And I have a lot of compassion for that. And there are kids that are genuinely intellectually excited to come to school and have ideas. I like coming to school and talking about the book we're reading. I like coming to school and talking about whatever. I like solving math problems. And that's awesome. I also know that there's a lot of kids that they don't really yet, they haven't bought in to what an education the opportunities that that can provide for them, and so they see coming to school as some form of punishment.
I think all students start out liking learning because that's what we're born to do in our world. You know, we explore, we learn things as young kids, and I think that the part of school that students kind of rebel against sometimes is that rigid structure, the grading scales, the demands that we put on people. I think that if those restrictions weren't in place, I think that they would choose to come to school.
I think the majority of them honestly would choose to go to school because I think there's that social aspect that they really, really like. And I think that the majority of especially our kids here, I think that they genuinely do like school.
You're no help to society whatsoever.